These Rewind the Clock episodes have been filled with advice, and today will be no different. Our guest is rejoining us from back on season 1, episode 31 overall, so we have a lot of time to make up for. And before I bring on today's guest, it's a little rapid fire time, quick questions and quick answers. Let's hear it from today's guest. Vin, which platform do you stream your podcast through?
Apple.
Apple, me as well. Where do you listen to your podcast normally?
In the car.
How do you listen to your podcast if you're not in the car?
Through my headphones, either working out.
Working out. And with that, it is time for another episode of That Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Vincent A. Lanci. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to the business or a seasoned veteran, this is the show for you. Each week, I interview a different entrepreneur from around the country and across the globe. For this bonus episode, I am excited to bring back one of the hardest workers I know, Vin DeRiso. Many things have changed, and his gym, Revolution Fitness, has grown, and we're going to have a special insight on this COVID experience for all you business owners. As he is located in New York, he battled through one of the most severe COVID restrictions out of all states, and not only did he survive, he grew. We will talk about this throughout the show, but get ready to be inspired and grow your idea or business with Vin DeRiso. Vin, thanks for coming back on.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Would you mind reintroducing yourself to our audience and previewing your story just a bit before we dive in?
Yeah, my name is Vinny DeRiso. I own Revolution Fitness out in Northwood, New York. We're going on we just had our 9th year, stronger than ever, especially since we just went through a pandemic. It's really a class-oriented gym with a full gym access, and I just love what I do.
I've had the opportunity to stop by Vin's gym at one point, maybe a year ago, and is on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, a little video of one of the classes he was cooking. He's got a full house in there all the time, but now he's mentioned this gym. Let's talk a little bit more about what's been going on.
Like everybody else that's a small business owner, had to deal with the pandemic. So that's what's been going on, trying to figure things out, make it better. And I did exactly just that.
Let's talk about maybe the beginning of the pandemic, how things were, and then we'll talk about how things phasing out now.
So when the pandemic happened, like most people, they didn't know what to do. So I just sat back, relaxed. My body needed it. So I didn't do anything for, a couple of weeks. And then I was going stir crazy. I started watching how other gyms were starting to do Zoom classes and Zoom stuff. I wasn't too thrilled about it because that's really not who I am as a trainer, as a gym owner. But I knew my clients, my members, they were getting antsy, so I had to do what I had to do. So we started doing Zoom, and they were doing great. I was promoting the Zoom classes, so I was just patiently waiting till Cuomo was going to open us up, and then all of a sudden he said, in stage 4, where we were supposed to be opening up, he was like, nope, gyms are not opening up. So, but we were allowed to have classes outdoors. And I started doing a little bit of classes outdoors, but I thought there was, a means to an end at some point in the early stages to this. So I didn't really invest in it. But then once he said, no gyms, I was like, you know what? I'm fully invested into the outdoor program. So the next day, once he announced that, I went out, bought a trailer, bought more equipment, threw so much more equipment into the trailer, and then just started blowing up my classes and started growing from there. And I just said, screw it. If we can't do this inside, we're going to do it outside. And I absolutely killed it until, he let the gyms open back up.
I've seen you on social media. Stick around to the end. We'll find out how to track his stuff. You were thriving. The classes were still filled. Are you still offering anything virtual now that the gym is open, or is it strictly just gym now?
Strictly just gym. We're right now talking with the town Northport Village to do outdoor classes, more for a PR standpoint, but also just because a lot of members are like, yeah, we loved it, and
Okay.
especially in the village where it's a perfect spot. So many people are there. So right now we will bring the outdoor classes back, but right now until that's finalized, right now everything's indoors.
Yeah, well, it's great to see that you've grown a lot to offer there. If you're in Suffolk County, New York, be sure to check out everything Vin's got going on. But now we're going to talk about advice, Vin. What is the best piece of advice you were ever given, and what did it teach you?
The best advice I was ever given, which ironically was what I think was 18, and it was actually learning how to snowboard for the first time. I got lessons from one of the guys out in Mount Snow, I think I was. No, Smuggler's Notch. I was at Smuggler's Notch and I was getting lessons. I was dating this girl and we were with her family. They knew how to, ski. I wasn't really into the skiing thing. I was like, let me try snowboarding. So I got lessons and I kept falling and falling and falling. And it stuck with me to this day. And he's like, listen, if you're not falling, you're not learning. All right, just get it back up and do it again. If you just kept going, you would never have learned anything. And it just stuck with me. And that's my motto is if you're not falling, you're not learning. So every time, even when I, fall down in business and I fail at something, I learn my lesson, I learn my mistakes, and I go just on life in general with that, whether it's relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's just day-to-day, just doing things. If something didn't work out in my favor, okay, well, what part of that did work out in my favor? What part didn't work out in my favor? Take that part that didn't work and do something different with it. So
very well said, Vin. I was going to say, I bet this transcends right into entrepreneurship as we're falling down quite a bit, especially in the first 3, 4, 5 years. We go, you're rocking and rolling with the gym. Is there something else you're working on in the entrepreneur world, or just the gym? Are we looking at more expansion? Let's share that with our audience.
So right now, unfortunately, I'm in limbo. My landlord is selling the building, but I'm waiting to find out if it's being sold, if it's not being sold. If it is being sold, I've already spoken to one of the potential landlords that we're going to expand. I'm actually looking for investors to not only expand our location that we have now, but also expand and opening up more locations. So eventually we can franchise it and make it into what I believe could be, one of the greatest gyms this world has ever seen.
I've been there, a close-knit family. It seems when you walk in that gym, a very different experience than most. As we're always learning to grow our businesses, Vin, it gets harder and harder to get unique. If you could recommend one book to our community of entrepreneurs to read, grow from, expand their mindset, which book would it be? Who is the author? And please describe it.
Yeah, that's a tough question. Only because I'm not a reader. But that's just me. And unfortunately, I would love to answer this question the right way, but I've never been into reading. So I don't have a book for you, unfortunately. But the best thing I could tell somebody is, if you are some type of person that read as much entrepreneurial books as you could possibly do. I never went to school, but for, business or financing or anything to run a business. But fortunately, in my business, I have a lot of people that are business minded, and I just feed off of them. I surround myself from like-minded people. I do not deal with other people that are lazy or think they're entitled. I deal with nothing but working hard people. So I just learn from them and I take their advice and I run with it. So that's the best way I could answer that for you.
Incredible answer, Vin. Ton of value right there. Thank you for that. So then let's just pivot to this. One piece of content that you could recommend to someone to either get them fired up or grow their mindset. What do you recommend it to them, whether it be YouTube or some other video imagery?
I mean, you can't go wrong with YouTube. You can't go wrong with any of the social media stuff. Like things that motivate me is like I'll follow people on social media that are like-minded, and just built their stuff from the ground up. And I just keep saying to myself, that could be me one day. That could be me. I know it's going to be me. And then I'll watch sometimes YouTube on, entrepreneurs and just learn from them. But for the most part, like I said, I get most of my learning from the people I surround, because at the end of the day, they're going to give you the most valuable lessons. You can learn from YouTube, you can learn from Instagram, you can learn from Facebook. But when you get that raw material one-on-one, that holds value. And that's what I cherish more than, like I said, social media and stuff like that. I'll reach out to these people that I trust, and I trust their opinion, and I'll get their, opinion over just researching it.
Appreciate you sharing all of that great advice, Vin. Now, as you know, normally it's time for the Spotlight Story, but on Rewind the Clock episodes, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out, show some love to another entrepreneur's endeavors. Who do you want to shout out today?
Let's shout out to you today, man. All right. I know how hard you're working on this. You're grinding every day. I see it. I don't want to just give anyone, a shout out. I want to give it to you, because I know, like, from one Vin to another that works hard, you deserve it. So I shout out to you.
Yeah, I appreciate the awesome words, man. And I appreciate you coming on for a second episode. Would you now mind please taking the time to deliver your last word?
Listen, at the end of the day, life is tough. Life is going to knock us down. And the best thing you could do is just get up. Like I said before, learn from your mistakes. Don't be discouraged from them. Mistakes are there to be learned from and to grow from. So the best thing you could do is just do that and move forward. I've been through the ringer with so many things, and not once have I given up on myself. I can be confident in myself. No one else can be confident for me. And you just gotta, no matter what, just keep pushing through. Eventually you'll get to where you want to be, as long as you just keep going. Something's got to break. All right. Life has to break at some point. And once it does, you'll be so happy.
This guy here is a true inspiration. You heard the right mindset. He delivered the entire episode. Thank you again, Vin, for coming on. You promoted resiliency the entire episode, growing during a pandemic, and so much more. Now, please let everybody know where they can find you.
They can find me on Instagram, fitness_Vinny D, or follow me on Facebook, Vincent DeRiso. Those are my two platforms that I use. Or they can go on to our gym page for Instagram, Revolution Fitness 1, sorry.
Be sure to check out all that content. He puts tips up all the time, especially if you're in Suffolk County or even Nassau County. Reach out to Vin. He's got programs like no one else. And while you're checking his content out, be sure to check out ours too. We are at That Entrepreneur Show across the board, except on Twitter. We're at Podcasts by Lanci, so you get updates from all the shows. My handles are at Vincent A. Lanci for all social media and YouTube, and the website is vincentalanci.com. As always, I'm ending the show with a quote, and this one is from Confucius. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next week on That Entrepreneur Show.